Two microphones, one movie, a couple of potions, and some hellishly insightful critiques about the films you may or may not love. The following review will have massive spoilers and possibly offensive content. This content may not be suitable for weak souls. Brought to you by Goodstraw Entertainment and Sam Hayes.
Hey, how's it going, movie lovers? Welcome back to another episode of Not Your Everyday Critics. I'm your host, George Lugo.
I am Manny Rivera. Oh my God, I don't know how he does it in this.
No idea.
So hot.
So if you haven't seen the show before, what we do is we critique movies. We're not your everyday critics. And we're just kind of a couple of ordinary guys who just have an obsession, borderline addiction to movies.
We've been watching movies forever. We love movies. Any chance we get to see any type of movie, from good movie to bad movie, it's all the same. The thing is, we love movies that much that it really doesn't matter. What we tell you today is clearly our view, our opinion. Take it as what you want, but some of it is good. Some of it, hey, movies are, they're subjective. So.
Yeah, movies are definitely subjective. There's a movie for everybody. So just because you don't like a movie doesn't mean it's not good. And what is there? There's like over 500,000 movies in existence, which means we have a lot of movies.
A lot of movies.
So
quite a few movies.
Let's jump right into today's episode. I'm not sure if you can tell, but today we're critiquing Halloween, the original, the 1978 John Carpenter Halloween. Halloween is probably one of my favorite horror series.
It's
one of my favorites. I'm not gonna say it is my favorite.
It is not my favorite.
It's one of my favorite.
It's a really good one.
Yeah, Michael Myers.
Definitely a classic.
He's such a scary antagonist.
Dude's a monster, man. Dude is a serious monster.
I think they basically dubbed him a movie monster. I'm
almost positive
No,
I
dubbed him a movie monster.
I heard about that. They dubbed him a movie monster, which
if
is
you guys
crazy.
have never seen John Carpenter's Halloween, the original from 1978, it's a classic. It is a must. He brought so much to that to the horror genre. It's ridiculous. So let's jump into the synopsis, and then we're gonna go into the categories.
Yeah.
All right. 15 years after murdering his sister on Halloween night, 1963, Michael Myers escapes from a mental hospital and returns to the small town of Haddonfield, Illinois, to kill again. I'm always going to do the little comic thing at the end. It's
Haddonfield, Illinois.
The guy has a speech impediment. What do you want?
All right, let's do it.
All right. So we're going to go with the categories really quick. We got intro, cast, wardrobe, writing, score, direction, practical/digital effects, suspense buildup, chase scene, gore, framework, the don't go in there category.
Don't go in there.
And we added 2 more recently. We're going to do budget, and we're going to do performance.
Yes.
And then outro. And we're going to try and get to these as quickly as possible. We're already a little bit in, so let's dive right into this.
Okay.
So we're going to jump right into the intro. So the movie starts with a tracking sequence. So this is a POV shot from, you don't know who it is yet. So it starts outside, and it's outside this house, and then the camera pans up to the front door, and then to the side of the house, and then the POV shot looks inside the house, and then he sees 2 people, a boy and a girl, like teenagers on a couch, just kind of fooling around. And then they basically grab hands, and then they run upstairs, and then the camera, I believe he pans to the front. He goes to the front, and I don't believe he can get in that way, and then he runs to the back.
Yeah.
and then goes into the house through the back door. And then this is all one sequence. So it's POV, one sequence.
You're jumping the gun a little bit there, though, buddy. The opening sequence is the music starting right off the bat. I feel like it's important that you talk about how the music entrance is. If y'all seen Michael Myers' entrance to his later movies, you always get that.
Well, that's
And
not the
then-
song, but okay.
And then what comes up is the glowing pumpkin.
Okay.
And then it has the...
Let's break away from our 15-minute to jump into the boring 5-minute one-shot pumpkin with the
Gonna
slowly zoom up.
Hey, it's an 80s classic, and that's how they brought it into it, man. I mean,
I guess
if you're
that's
gonna
fine. So the intro is they're playing the theme song
Yeah.
for Halloween, which is
All
no.
right, cool. We'll keep going.
Jesus Christ, you're killing me.
It's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, anyways, it's just there's a pumpkin to the right, and then all the names are, I guess it's like theater, right?
Yeah.
And all the names are to the left, and then it's just slowly zooming in on the pumpkin, and it's playing the Halloween theme music, and then that's basically it.
very classic
it's just
80s
all
entrance.
It is. It's a little slow, and if you're not used to watching those old school movies where they do like all the like half the credits in the beginning and then half at the end,
Yeah.
it'll probably throw you off, and you're gonna be like, "This is boring as balls."
Yeah.
It is a little bit boring. So,
It can get that way, but I mean, it's just everything leading up to something. So it's a movie you're going to have to be patient with. It's a very good movie. As long as you follow the story and everything, it's a really good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
But
So
you need
let's
patience with
yeah,
the movie.
let's just jump right back into where I left off at the intro. So he goes in through the back door. This is still all POV, one long tracking shot, and he walks through the kitchen, and then he grabs a knife, and it's like a giant, ridiculous kitchen knife. It's huge, and then he starts to proceed into the living room, and then he goes towards the front door, and then he looks up at the stairs, and he sees the boy coming back down the stairs.
Yeah.
And the guy's like putting his shirt on, like, yeah, just got lucky. And then he leaves. The boy leaves, and then POV shot still goes upstairs, walking up the stairs, turns to the right, and then there's a mask on the floor, a clown mask, and the POV, you see the hand reach down, grab the mask, and attempt to put the mask on, and now we have little eye holes for this POV sequence. And he continues to walk, and he's upstairs, and he goes into this room, and then there's a girl sitting there brushing her hair. All she's wearing is panties, and she's just completely naked.
Yeah.
And then, the POV shot gets closer, and then she turns, she's like, Michael, and then you just see him just start stabbing her. And then she falls down, and then she falls down with her hands out and her tits out.
Beautiful scene.
It's a pretty good shot.
Pretty good shot.
It's a pretty good shot because she has a giant rack.
Nice.
Then, now that we know that it's Michael, he runs downstairs and then out to the street, and then a car pulls up and it's his parents. And then he stops right in front of the car. They get out and they're like, Michael? And you see the dad go to pull the mask off of him, and that's when it cuts to young Michael. And he's standing there in his clown outfit, holding a giant blade covered in blood, and then the camera pans up and out, which is a cool sequence because it pans upwards at a diagonal angle and out, and you get to see Michael, and then you get to see the house, and the whole thing is framed up pretty well. And that's our intro.
That blank stare that he has.
He has such a blank stare. It's
just
crazy.
A blank freaking. I don't even know. It's spooky when you see this kid have that expression and just.
Well, that's the stare of a serial killer.
Yeah.
I mean, they're emotionless.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That was very scary.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. Definitely scary.
Yeah. That's the intro to the movie.
That's the intro to the movie.
Very nice intro.
I love that intro.
It is a nice intro.
It's really it's long, but it's all like one long sequence. So that's really cool.
It was very creepy. It was leading up to something.
It's very unnerving. You know,
You can tell that it was going to lead up to something. Although the ending of it, was like them surprised, like Michael, like what made him snap? You know, it's crazy.
yeah. It's a little bizarre. They get
It
into
is.
they get into that like later with like his backstory and like origins and stuff through comic books, through more sequels of the movie. You start learning about more about what makes Michael Myers.
Yeah.
But interesting thing about that shot though, it's actually John Carpenter had to shoot it 5 times, and there is a break at one point in that shot, but it looks like
yeah. I remember seeing that in an interview. He was saying
but I
something like that.
believe he says he doesn't know where the break is.
Yeah.
I assume because I've seen that opening so many times now. But I believe it's when they put the when he puts the mask on.
Puts the mask on.
I believe that's where it transitions, because that'd be an easy way to cut.
It would be an easy way to cut.
Yeah,
but
it's still pretty seamless regardless.
it is.
Yeah, it's pretty seamless regardless. It's a very fun sequence, you know, and it's super unsettling when you first see it. You're like, it's so creepy that he's just roaming around, because he's outside when it starts. Like, what the fuck is this kid doing?
Yeah, I know. It's just,
You know,
just weird.
it's probably trick or treating, to be honest. But still,
Yeah, maybe. But
But
I mean,
still.
so weird.
The intro is great. So let's jump into
Next category.
cast. We're gonna jump into the cast. There's a pretty
Cast.
big cast here. So we have Donald Pleasance is Dr. Loomis. Jamie Lee Curtis is obviously Laurie Strode. Nancy Keys is Annie. PJ Souls is Linda. Charles Cyphers is Brackett. Kyle Richards is Lindsay. Fucking Lindsay. Brian Andrews is Tommy. Let's see here. John Michael Graham is Bob.
Bab.
Nancy Stevens is Marion. Oh, Arthur Mallet is the graveyard keeper. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
Let me see. Mickey Albans is Richie. Brent LePage is Lonnie. Adam Hollander is Keith. Robert Phelan is Dr. Wynn from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Tony Moran is Michael Myers, the older Michael Myers.
Yes.
Will Sandin is the young Michael Myers.
Yes.
Sandy Johnson is Judith Myers. That's the one with the... David Kyle was the boyfriend. Peter Griffith. Peter Griffith is Laurie's father. Nick Castle's the Shape. So that's Michael Myers when he's in the outfit, the mask on and everything, right?
The one with the mask on is Nick Castle.
Yes, the Shape. Yeah. And then the rest is just a bunch of extras, which we will give our salute to. Thank you very much for being in the movie.
Salud.
The cast is actually pretty nice. And Jamie Lee Curtis got this role by chance. So they were gonna cast someone else. I forgot the name of the girl that Jamie Lee Curtis was talking about, that every time that she went in to do like a when she went in to go do what do they call those?
The auditions?
Auditions. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. There's this girl would always be in there. I forgot her name.
Yeah.
She would always be in there, and she would always beat out Jamie Lee Curtis and get the part. But I guess somebody that Jamie Lee Curtis knew John and recommended her, and then John did a private audition.
Private audition.
And he was just like, "When can you start?" So that's pretty awesome.
That was like her big break.
And that was her big break. So
and that was a big movie for her to be in.
yeah,
Definitely a big movie for her.
I mean,
to be in.
they're still releasing Halloween movies 40 years later. 40.
I mean,
So the movie Halloween is older than I am. It's fucking insane.
yeah, no,
Right?
She got her big break off of this, which I think she really deserves, and she did very well as Laurie, as the person that she played, which she seemed like she was an innocent person at a time. You know, she was very responsible, babysitter, did her schoolwork.
Yeah.
You know, she seemed like she had her stuff together. And
She was kind of like every girl USA,
yeah.
which was nice.
Yeah.
That's how she classified herself in her interview. Every girl USA. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. She did well. Nick Castle being the creepy Michael Myers. I mean,
Yeah, he
that
played it well.
guy
He played it well.
very well.
He played it well. I mean, they did a really good job of taking a serial killer and putting it into like a horror slasher movie. It's so early in the game. I mean, there were obviously movies with killers in it, but this one was so unique.
To have like
It was
a
very
killer,
original.
to have like a killer movement without even speaking, just
Yeah,
his persona the entire
Yeah.
time is just so well
Yeah, it's
done.
not-
You know what I mean?
It's not like Psycho, which, by the way, that's the movie that Jamie Lee Curtis's mother was in.
Yeah.
Was Psycho. It's not like Psycho. This is completely different. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael Myers is definitely, at least the way I believe he was interpreted in the first movie, he's like, he has like a mental disorder, and like he's like, they basically or Dr. Loomis classified him as like pure evil.
Yeah.
And he never wanted him to be released. So,
Yeah. Crazy spooky.
yeah. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Definitely.
It's good stuff. Let's jump into our next category, which is
Wardrobe.
We're only going to talk about Michael Myers' costume or his wardrobe, because the rest of it's pretty basic. Came out in the
70s
late
bell bottom sweaters and stuff like that. So there isn't much to do.
we don't need to
with the
go.
wardrobe,
We don't need to go over any
you
of
know
that.
what I mean?
Michael's outfit is the one that we
Michael's
really need to
outfit's
talk
the biggest outfit.
about. So let's discuss his outfit.
Serious.
So, if you watch the movie closely, you see where he kind of gets his outfit from.
Yeah.
So in the beginning of the movie, Dr. Loomis finds a car off the side of the road, and it's a mechanic, and he's naked. So he gets the overalls from the mechanic, which is this right here.
Hello.
Later, Annie and Laurie are driving down the street, and they see Annie's father.
Yeah.
And there's an alarm going off, and then there's they ask him what's happened. He's like, "Oh, someone broke in, probably just a bunch of kids." And they're like, "Oh, you always say it's kids." And he's like, "Well, all they took was some Halloween masks, some knives, and a rope."
Interesting,
right? I want to know what he used the rope for.
I know, because I don't ever see him use the rope at all.
I didn't see any. Even when
He's
go
got a
into the
knife.
house, he's got a knife.
He's got a mask.
Got a mask.
But
might be something they cut out from the movie.
maybe it's
Might be something they cut out
possible.
from the movie.
No idea.
Not sure.
But
Not
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
So where were we?
we were talking about the rope before, what he was going to be using the rope for, and then we just.
Oh yeah. Don't know. I think it's most likely something they cut from the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe probably.
Maybe it was like he didn't do much with the rope and it ate up a bunch of time, and they're like, you know what? We'll just scrap it.
Yeah,
That happens a lot.
Which is fine.
That happens a lot in film.
Which it works out fine for the movie for what it was. I mean, I don't think the rope was really necessary. So
No.
but other than that,
So Michael Myers got his costume from a dead mechanic, the one he killed, and then he got his mask from the hardware store,
yeah,
which happened to be a William Shatner mask from Star Trek, Captain Kirk.
Captain.
So they had to modify this mask. They took away as many of the facial features as possible. They widened the eyes and a little bit on the mouth, and then they painted it white. And we
Yeah.
have one of the most iconic masks of all time,
creepy,
which is insane, because it's the outfit is so incredibly simple, but the way Nick Castle carries himself, he scares the fuck out of you.
Yeah,
You know.
his whole persona behind the entire thing.
Yeah, the way
It's just so creepy.
Yeah, the
It
amount
does it
of
so damn well.
yeah, the amount of
It's insane.
the amount of motion he can like convey without actually using his face. It's pretty cool. So
That's crazy. That's crazy. Very spooky.
very spooky.
Very spooky.
Very spooky. And I like that. I like how simple the outfit is. I've always liked that about Michael Myers. He's
Ah.
just like, his character is so evil, he doesn't need a crazy evil outfit.
No.
He just needed a jumpsuit, a mechanic's jumpsuit, and then a William Shatner mask.
And a William Shatner mask. That's scary in itself.
I kind of wish that like William Shatner just would have dubbed part of the movie. You know, like if he was like Michael Myers, he's like, Laurie, come here. I'm going to stab you in the face.
That'd be horrible.
Yeah.
That'd be so bad.
I think it'd be funny as shit.
Funny, sure, but
What?
this movie wouldn't have got the review it did if that happened.
Who cares, dude? It's funny. It's funny. That's all we need from that.
Ha.
All right, so I think we're good on wardrobe.
Wardrobe is
It's very
good.
simple.
Yeah.
Very simple but classic. So let's jump into our next category. Writing. I actually kind of enjoyed the way this movie was written. All the characters are like, they're witty and like sassy in their own way, and they're very realistic.
Yeah.
Which is cool because it shows you kind of like what the time was in 1978. There are obviously some things that are just, they don't add up.
No.
There's like not, I don't know if that's like a writing issue or if we're going to create horror tropes, you know, like the whole going upstairs type thing.
Yeah.
And then like kind of like screwing yourself by going the wrong direction. Like that kind of stuff is like, it is what it is. You know, I believe it's just, that's kind of where the tropes come from, or like these old horror movies. So
Yeah.
I think that's fine. But as far as like dialogue and the actual story, like of all the teenagers living out their lives, all that is pretty solid.
Yeah, it took like 3 people. Like John Carpenter wrote a lot of this movie, but there was like 3 people that were involved in writing this movie too.
Yeah.
I don't remember their names for the life of me, but
Let me see here. I'll find it.
yeah, there was
So let's see here. We got John Carpenter. And John Carpenter. Well, he just says here.
Oh,
he did
Deborah
his
Hill
thing.
was
Deborah
another
Hill.
one. Deborah Hill was another
Yeah.
person that also was involved in writing.
She was very big, and she
yeah.
and then Jamie Lee Curtis she credits Deborah Hill for creating Laurie Strode.
Yes. Yeah. So there was a lot that went into this movie that, you know, took place the way it did. This movie was actually going to be a bit different too, but everybody put their heads together. It took a turn with like I think it was like American Psycho and another movie too that they got pieces off of that they wanted to make this movie the way it did. And
You're talking about the original Psycho.
the original Psycho.
Yeah, the original Psycho.
Original Psycho.
Not American Psycho.
Sorry, the original Psycho.
Yeah.
The original Psycho. And put their heads together, came out with this piece of a stalker, babysitter killer, psycho killer, and turned out this way, and it came out amazing.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, you'll hear no complaints about like the dialogue and the story from me. It's just some of the tropes where you're like, come on, man, like, don't do that shit. But
Yeah.
other than that, I love this. The writing is solid.
The writing was
the writing is
solid. Deborah Hill, John Carpenter,
Yeah.
kudos to you guys.
Way to go, John. John knocked it
yeah,
out.
serious.
Let's move on
Nice.
to our next category, the score. So let's see here. Do you have any information on the score?
Again, the score was done by Mr. John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
The intro music, yeah, exactly. John Carpenter actually learned that rhythm from his father when he started teaching him how to do music at a young age, and I guess I don't know if it's
I think it was just to keep him like on tempo, right?
yeah, keeping on tempo.
And then he turned it into the most iconic theme song of all time.
Yep. The most iconic.
If you really think about it,
everybody recognizes.
Yeah, the second you hear that, you're like, oh, it's Halloween.
Music.
So I mean, can you do that with other movies?
I don't know. I don't
I'm
think
trying
so.
to think. The only other movies I could think of, like off the bat, are like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Indiana Jones. Like, those are all iconic movies.
They're all
right?
iconic movies for sure.
So he created something that you can be like, that's fucking Halloween.
Yeah. You know it right off the bat, for sure. For sure. I mean, it was very easy. Like, it wasn't too much to it. And it just sounds.
It sounded great.
This
is like when
great.
This is like when synthesizers and like that electronic music was starting to become like big, and you could hear a little bit in there. And he uses some like electronic sounds to put you like in a little bit of terror, like when
like on the edge of your seat or something.
In the beginning of the movie when Laurie goes up and she puts the key at the Myers residence, and then Michael steps over to the side and he's like, wow, like that high pitch.
See that silhouette of his or whatever?
It's like that high pitch electronic sound.
Yeah.
It's only for like a beat and then it goes away. So he does a good job of like creating tension and like terror, like through even just the smallest little bit of sound.
Very 80s music. You know what I mean?
Like the synthesizer side.
Yeah, with the synthesizer side. But you know what? It worked very well for the movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't have a problem with the way
the score is great.
Yeah, the score is great.
He did a great job of creating music that would build up tension and fear. So
yeah.
He did a great job with that.
Definitely good. Definitely.
So let's move on to direction. What? With John Carpenter. So
this guy's all over the place.
He is kind of all over the
everywhere.
place.
He is
but
everywhere.
This is at the beginning of his career. So
no, it's not. But I mean,
this
director.
This is more at the beginning of his career. Like he had only, I think he had only done like 2 other projects before this movie.
Did he?
I believe so. Maybe on. We're gonna director. Scroll all the way to the bottom. So he did. His first thing was Revenge of the Colossal Beasts in 1962. It was a
Colossal
short.
Beasts.
So, and then he did a bunch of shorts. These are all shorts. So it looks like he probably did about 10 shorts before he did anything.
Okay.
And then he did Dark Star. That came out in 1974. Assault on Precinct 13. Someone's Watching Me. It's a TV movie. And then Halloween. Something's Watching Me came out the same year, 1978.
So he had about three movies under his belt before he made
but,
this
but
one.
he did have a huge collection of shorts.
Yeah.
So I mean, just because they're short films doesn't mean
can't take anything away. The guy has experience.
Those things are still hard to make, and it still takes a lot of production.
I mean,
so
takes camera work, lighting, all
but
that
this
kind
is like
of jazz. You know.
I think if you really think about it, though, this is like one of his biggest movies at such an early age. You know, 1978, and then he did tons of great films after that.
Yeah.
The Fog, Escape from New York. He redid The Thing, Christine, Starman, Big Trouble in Little China, one of my favorites, Prince of Darkness, They Live. They fucking live. I love that movie.
We will be doing that.
We will be doing that movie.
Eventually, but we will be doing it.
But I mean, he has so many fucking movies here. The Village of the Damned, Escape from L.A., John Carpenter's Vampires, Ghosts of Mars.
So he's got quite a few. The guy has definitely quite a bit under his belt.
Yeah.
So for him to direct this movie, screenplay by him, freaking
all that shit.
What is it? Music by him. The guy is very into what he likes to do. He has passion for it. So
he swears a lot too. I love that about him.
Oh, I fucking I saw some of his fucking interviews. He
did an interview and he was showing one of the guys what they did to the Myers mask. He's like, and then we fucking did this. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say that on here? Like,
and he goes, you can say whatever you want. He's John fucking Carpenter. He's saying whatever the fucking feel like.
You can say whatever you want. You know?
But that was fucking hilarious. I loved it. He was one of those fucking guys where it's just.
Quick side note: I like that. One of the kids was watching The Thing from Another World.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they were watching that movie, and then later in the 80s, like, I think it was, fuck, when did he do the thing? It was 82. So it was literally only fucking 4 years later, and then he remade the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he remade the thing.
I thought, that was pretty cool. I
Cool.
like the fact that he put that in there. It was a good little nudge to
Well,
that.
I don't know if he had rewritten a story for that movie yet. I don't know. But it was just nice that it was in there, you know? I'm like,
It was a fun little thing. I didn't realize until you told me about it, and then I watched it again. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We're going to do a bunch of those old school, like, those old, like, alien, like, movies. Because that's, like, kind of when, the alien sci-fi was king. It was, like, those early, like, between, like, 50s and 70s. For some reason, they were really big then, and they did really well. So we'll cover that another time.
I mean,
but for John Carpenter, he definitely knocked this fucking movie out of the park. The direction was solid.
Yeah,
I don't think we need
the guy had plenty of vision.
Yeah, plenty of vision. I think.
Let's move on to the next one because I'm gonna talk this guy up.
Yeah, so let's move on to practical and digital effects. So there's not a lot of digital because it's 1978.
Yes.
So let's do digital first. We'll do it in reverse. So digital. There's only like 2, I think, and one of them is in the opening sequence when they put the
mask on.
The mask on. They did that in post to one of the optics department.
What was the other thing? I don't really know of another digital effect.
I thought there was another one. Give me a sec. Maybe not.
I don't know of another digital effect. The only other digital.
If you guys know of any other ones that we missed because we're stupid,
go
ahead and leave it in the comments.
We love this movie,
and then also tell us that we're dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move on to practical because that's where this movie fucking shines.
Practical effects, definitely a lot of practical effects in this, and I actually enjoy some of them. Some of them were kind of cheesy, but I do.
It's 1978.
I know, but like I said, I do like a lot of the practical effects that are in here. One of my favorite ones is when he's lifting up Bob with one hand.
Oh, I love that one. Yes.
Lifting up Bob with one hand, then stabs Bob
I love how
in the chest.
I love how cheesy it is because like they show Michael from a downward angle, and you get to see focus on his arm going up. So like that creates like a lot of like tension there. And then they show Bob, right? And he's like, got that shocked look on his face. And they show Bob's feet, and his feet raise up. So now we've got Bob at a different angle. I'm sure it's just Bob standing, and then Michael.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
On his knees. And then, like, he fucking takes his blade out, right? And they focus on the blade, and he goes, whapa! And he stabs Bob right in the chest. So much so that Bob is left hanging on the door.
The only thing holding him up there is the damn knife. So creepily that Michael stands back a little bit and takes a look at him. And he just stares at him with this weird look and turns his head. And
I think he's admiring his work, to be honest.
Probably. Or just being like, huh.
I think he's admiring his work.
I thought he was going to put more of a fight up instead of being a bitch. All right, whatever. Cool.
I don't think it's that at all. I think it's just admiring his work.
You don't know.
Well, if you think about it, because, all right, another. This isn't really practical. This is just the way they laid out Annie. So when Laurie goes upstairs when Laurie goes across the street to where Annie's at watching the kids, she goes upstairs. Annie's in the bed, and then there's a tombstone. So Michael laid Annie out.
Yeah,
he laid her out like Judith was laid out, and then put Judith's tombstone, like her headstone, at the top of the bed. That is like some hardcore serial killer shit. Like when they're fucking with the police, you know, like he set that up, and then then Laurie backs up, and then Bob swings down from the closet. Yeah, right. So I mean, he set him up there too. Yeah, and then Laurie backs over to the cupboard, and then the cupboard swings open, and then fucking. Was it Linda? Linda.
Is it
Linda or Lindsay?
Lindsay.
And then Lindsay's like, right? And he set all these fucking people up because they were all, Lindsay was killed up there. Yeah. Bob was killed downstairs. Yeah. Annie was killed in the garage.
Yes.
He brought them all to the one room. and then put everyone in very specific places.
It's just so weird why you
That's
would
a
do that.
super
It's
serial
just-
killer move.
It's definitely a
Because
super serial
you're
killer move.
leaving you're creating like a sequence. It's something you want someone to see and and take some information.
Yeah.
So like
I don't understand why he needed to do all that, but hey,
he didn't need to, but like I said, he's a serial killer for like straight up.
yeah,
And he'll do that serial killer shit every now and then. But most of the time, he does like slasher shit. Like he'll just kill people and leave them there.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah. Are there any other digital practical effects you'd like to talk about?
There's a couple of practical effects. The other practical effects that I wanted to talk about was when Michael is on the. It's in the beginning where Michael runs on top of the car. And then his hand comes down and smashes the window, and it leaves almost like a handprint almost when he smashes the window. I don't know
There's something on his. I believe there's a piece of foam on his hand because when he goes to slap it, you see something.
You see something
on his
on
hand.
there. I don't know what it is, but I saw
I think it's
it.
just foam, so that when he hits the glass, it just
doesn't hurt
cracks
him or
and
anything
doesn't
like
cut his
that.
hand open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I noticed that then. So yeah, when he smashed his hand in there, I noticed a couple of just little things that it almost didn't like look like a real smack on the window. So that's another one. There's quite a few in here. They're not the best scenes, but I mean, it's an older movie.
Yeah.
They did what they could with what they had, and to me, it worked out fine.
I think it worked out fine.
I think it worked out fine.
So I think we're good
I thought
there.
it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think
So
we're good there.
yeah, I don't got any complaints from this. This is actually a really good, not fun movie, but it's definitely. I mean, I don't know.
It's not fun for you.
I watch it. I'm not a big fan of like horror type movies, but I can appreciate how good a movie is.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
but
Yeah, the movie's the gore is good. We're gonna get to that.
yeah.
So let's move on to our next category, suspense buildup.
Jesus Christ.
They do a lot of that.
They do.
They
a
literally
ton-
the whole movie. Is
whole
that.
movie is a suspense buildup.
It really is. I mean, they lead you off with that POV sequence in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
That whole tracking scene. There's that. And then there's the sequence with Loomis in the beginning in the car. That's very unsettling. It's so unsettling.
It is unsettling.
And you can tell how uncomfortable he is with her. It's great. And
Yeah.
then I mean even the girls when they're walking home from school and it's all creepy, like there's so much tension built up in this movie.
See, the suspense buildup is super crazy because Lori at times will see him, and then after she turns away, he's gone. She talks to her friends about him, and they don't believe her. Every now and again, she'll see something or notice something, and he doesn't do anything. Like he's just waiting for the right time to do something.
He's a creeper.
He's definitely waiting.
He's a creeper.
Most of this movie is slow, and the most action it takes is actually towards the end of the movie.
Yes,
and it's just a super big buildup until then, like a huge finale to it.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And
of
it's
buildup
freaking great.
There's a lot.
Definitely great.
Yeah, there's a lot of buildup in this movie.
Again, the movie's slow, so you definitely got to be patient with
It's a different era.
It's it's a different era. You got to if you haven't seen the
movie, you're not gonna get instant gratification like you would with a modern horror movie.
Yeah.
Because they follow a story here, and the whole story is, the girls. That the whole story is revolved around them.
Yeah.
Michael Myers is like his story is like it's insignificant in comparison to the girls.
Yeah.
So the whole thing it's a little bit slow. It's about high school girls and they got a dance coming up the next day. Yeah. It's gonna be a little bit slow, but the thing is, it's incredibly realistic. So,
I mean,
that's what makes it very unnerving.
It's worth the buildup. It's definitely gonna get you to a point where is he gonna do it now? Or is he gonna do it now? When he's in the clothesline area staring in, or when he comes out from the bushes and he's looking at him, or when he's driving around in the car and then when he hits the brakes.
I love when he's driving.
You
in the
know what
car.
I mean? So it's definitely definitely a
Speed
big
kills.
and
And then they're like, and he just drives away.
it's definitely a suspense buildup.
Or how about when he's
from the get go?
with Loomis? When Loomis is there, he shows up, and then Loomis is waiting for the sheriff. He tells the sheriff he'll wait,
Yeah,
and you see the car on the left hand side, and it starts to drive, and Loomis is looking this way, and right when it meets up with Loomis, Loomis looks the other way.
passes.
It just passes him, and you see him sitting there. He's wearing the outfit too, like the mask and the
Dude,
jumpsuit.
one of the scenes that freaks me out is when the kid gets off from school and he bumps into Michael, and Michael has him by the shoulders, and he's
Yeah.
looking up at Michael or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, is he gonna do something to that kid? Nah, he just lets him
he
go.
had a
But I'm
very-
like,
he-
oh,
he very-
fuck.
Very specifically wanted Tommy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He had it
Because
out
he's
for that.
A serial killer.
Yeah.
At least in the first movie. Because he had them very picked out. He had them picked out. He had Lori picked out and he had Tommy picked out.
Yeah.
And everyone else he killed was just by chance to get to Lori and Tommy later.
So definitely a suspense buildup in this movie.
Yeah.
So
Really
good.
good. Let's go to our next category, the chase scene.
Chase scene. I like this chase scene.
Go for it.
This chase scene starts out with Lori going into the other house, you know, checking on her friends, seeing what's going on, and she goes upstairs. Right, she's trying to figure out where everybody's at, so she's going upstairs. She sees a light shining through the crack of a door, and as she goes in there, okay, she sees her dead friend on the bed with a tombstone over her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so she's freaking out right there.
Mm-hmm.
So as she's freaking out, screaming, she goes to the side or whatever, and then Bob starts to swing. As Bob is swinging, there's another body that she's tripping out on. She kind of like either moves backwards or falls back and hits like a cupboard, and she hears some movement, and then she opens this cupboard, and then she sees her other friend dead inside the cupboard. And at this point, she is freaking out so damn bad that she runs outside the room, goes to a corner, and she's just crying insanely, and she's just super freaked out. And in the back of her, you see a black hallway or a black room. And that's when Michael's mask starts to come into light.
Mm-hmm.
And as Michael's mask comes into light, he swings this knife at her and misses, gets her on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
As that happens, she falls onto the ground. She's screaming hysterically, looking at Michael, and then he starts to come after her. And then I can't remember specifically how this happens, but she ends up going over the stairwell and falls down the stairs.
She should have broken her leg.
She should have broken her leg.
Yeah.
But instead, she just injured her knee. She can still move, but she injured her knee.
Barely.
So as she falls to the bottom of the stairs, Michael looks over, sees, and he starts making his way towards her. She's already getting up, grabbing her knee, and running out the front door.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Michael makes his way down the stairs and starts chasing after Lori. All the way to the other house. And it's crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, okay, for one thing, I mean, if you're going to stab a girl, you got to aim right. You know what I mean? Michael.
But he can't kill. He can't kill the protagonist. That's.
But anyway, that is the start of the chase scene. The chase scene goes on for a while, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. Just because it's towards the end of the movie and we have a different sequence for that. But it's a good chase scene. I enjoyed the chase scene. And then when she gets to the other house, he doesn't run. Like he has this
He just walks.
walk. Like
walks
he
quickly to
knows I'm going to get you. Whether I run or walk, I'm still going to get you.
He just walks quickly towards.
And he walks quickly. It's so great. I enjoyed this chase scene. I don't think I've ever seen Michael run in any Halloween movie.
He just walks really fast.
He just walks really fast,
he doesn't
right?
run.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a spooky feeling when a serial killer is just walking behind when you're running, letting you know no matter what you do, he's going to catch up to you. He's going to get you. He's going to kill you. So there's nowhere you can go. And I thought that was very creepy.
It's definitely creepy.
It's
Definitely creepy. He knows he's going to get you.
Very scary scene.
He knows he's going to get you, and he's just like, I'm walking there, dude.
Yeah.
I don't gonna run. I'm gonna stab you.
I'm going to stab you.
So,
Stab.
chase scene, good. Let's move on to our next category, gore.
Not too much gore.
There's actually not that much considering
Not
this
too
is a
much
horror
gore.
movie.
There are a few scenes, not too many, but there are a few scenes. One of the first gory scenes I guess I can say is when young Michael is
Kills
stabbing,
Judith.
kills his sister.
Yeah.
And after you see her on the floor, you see this
Just blood, but
blood
it's-
that's on her that doesn't really look like blood.
It looks like they painted it on with.
It looks like it
paintbrush.
was either like paint or
Well, I'm not upset about the color. I'm upset about the way it's on her. It looks like they used a paintbrush.
Oh yeah. It didn't look
It didn't look right.
real at all.
look
But
right.
I mean, that's part of the gory.
It's 1978.
It's 70. You use what you got.
Yeah.
You know?
So I'm trying to think of the most gory sequence. Probably would be
Maybe when Bob hangs down and you see that big old blood splatter in the
or
middle of his
Annie
chin.
when she's laying there and they show her throat is cut. In
Annie?
the bed. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can say Annie. Which that car sequence too. You think if you cut a throat, it'd be sprayed everywhere. It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I guess that could be that's a little gory.
Yeah.
It's not.
There's not too much gore in this movie.
There really
Considering.
isn't. There
Yeah,
really isn't.
considering.
And I like the fact that there isn't because it's still a kind of creepy, kind of spooky movie without all the what people like to have necessary in their movies with the blood splatter and all that kind of crap. I don't think it's necessary to have too much of that kind of stuff. Some, yeah.
That's where you're wrong. Don't worry. We're gonna do some movies where the gore is out of control.
Jesus Christ.
Oh. You'll see.
I'm gonna need Jesus after that.
No. You'll see.
But yeah, there are
as far
aren't
as gore, there's not.
yeah,
much,
there aren't
so
too many gory
So we don't need to-
scenes.
we're good
so,
there. We're good there.
We can just
We're good there.
pass up on that.
Yeah. So let's move on to our next category, framework.
There's quite a bit of framework.
There's some good framework in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot
They
of
did
framework.
a really good job. There's a lot of long tracking sequences. He makes good use of like outward and inward zoom.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like what's that one of my favorite scenes was like in the beginning when they do the pan out from Michael and they show the house. It's a good one. I guess one of the scenes that's very like unnerving, but the framework is really good. Is at the end of the movie when Laurie stabbed Michael in the stomach with the blade, and then she told the kids to leave, and then she's sitting there, and then she's on the left side of the frame, and you see Michael laid out in the background, and then he sits up,
Oh yeah,
and then he pans so that he looks at her.
yeah.
So that's a really good shot. It's done really
That's
well.
definitely a good shot. Another good shot is one of your favorite scenes too, is when they go to when Loomis is in front of the. Is it the Loomis? It is Loomis, in front of the hardware store trying to talk to the sheriff.
Yeah.
And
That's a good sequence.
when the station wagon from one side to the other as Loomis goes from looking left
That's a good
to
shot.
right.
It's a really good shot.
Oh, definitely great shot.
Yeah.
There's a few good
Yeah,
shots in here, and then
Yeah.
of course the all-time famous shot where Michael's mask comes into frame in the dark room, which is spooky as hell, done
Mhm.
very well,
it's very creepy.
and it's freaking really good, really really good. I enjoyed that scene for
Yeah,
sure.
it's a good one.
But a couple frameworks, I enjoyed that one's very classic.
It's
Yeah.
definitely good. That's a good one. All right, so I think we're good there with the framework.
I think the next thing we should probably go into is our next category. That would be the don't go in there.
Don't go in there.
Don't go in there.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's too many of these. There's a lot, and I think the one that I probably would go with most is probably Lori when she goes across the street to check on her friends.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause I know he was like definitely looking for Lori.
yeah.
I think if she didn't go over there, he wouldn't have went across the street.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I kind of made this argument with you last time, man. I think that even if she didn't go across the street, he would have still gone across the
I
way.
don't think so, though. I don't think he knew that they were there. And he's not going to go house to house looking for people, for her specifically.
Shit, he drove around town looking for her specifically.
But he wasn't going door to door, you know. I don't think he's going to do that.
Maybe,
Yeah.
probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Because they happen.
But I mean,
that's I feel like the biggest that don't go in there. And she's like, I'm just gonna go over there where
that is definitely
everyone's dead and the serial killer.
Yeah,
is.
I know, right? I'm gonna go check that place out.
I'm gonna go check that out.
But yeah, that's probably the biggest don't go in. I can't actually think of another one. Yeah, definitely. Lori going into the other house. Definitely don't go in there. Don't go in there.
Go in there.
Good scene.
Yeah, let's go over budget now.
Budget. So definitely an 80s movie. Didn't have a very big budget.
How much was the budget?
Not a big budget at all. It was actually from $300 to $325,000. Was not big budget at all whatsoever.
Yeah, that's
So,
even though it's 1978, that's probably like closer.
Hence the fake blood.
Yeah.
And certain scenes that seemed very cheesy. They had to work with whatever they had. So $300 to $325,000. Hey, it's a really good movie. Do you know how much it made in the box office?
A lot.
Quite a bit.
A lot.
Quite a bit. Actually, this movie actually set a record at one point to $60 to $70 million in the box office back in the 80s. From $325,000 to hitting up to $60 to $70 million box office.
It's a little. Yeah.
Phew,
So it's 47 million domestic,
Yeah,
and then international was 23.
that's
So
crazy.
That's insane.
That is nuts.
So that's fucking crazy.
This movie did so well.
Yeah.
It's freaking like
So making a theatrical total for domestic and international 70 million in 1978 makes it one of the most successful independent films of all time.
dude, it is crazy.
That's fucking
crazy.
insane.
But
You know,
yeah.
you know they love that turnout, right?
Oh
They're-
yeah, no, it was a freaking great
They were
turnout.
like, "How much did you make?"
Yeah, I know, right?
We only gave you this much and you made what?
Like, oh yeah, John, you want to do the next 10 movies that we got?
Well, that's
coming
why he
up?
got so many movies afterwards, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's exactly why his freaking low ass budget of a movie became a huge success, and then people were like, "Oh my god, I got to
Yeah,
get
but
this
most
guy."
horror movies are they're pretty low budget, most of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, they don't come out on top the way
Not
they do
that
here.
not that way. That's
No.
insane.
This is a huge freaking payout on this one.
Yeah. That's
So
insane.
well done with a low budget and came out on top. Awesome. Definitely awesome. Yeah, that's what so far what I got for budget.
Sweet. All right, so let's move on to our next category, performance.
Performance. I think everybody did a pretty good job in this movie, as a matter of fact. Lori, I think Jamie Lee Curtis did a very well impression of a average teenage, high school student.
Well, I mean, that's
No.
also pretty fresh still because I think she was only 19 when she got this part.
Even though, I mean, to act the way and have your dialogue and sell the damn story. I mean, you still got to do the entire, spiel.
I guess. Yeah.
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 And then you have to interact with these other people that you probably don't even know, like freaking
That's every job.
Lindsay, freaking Michael. You have to feed off of their characters and try to do what's best for a certain take to just sell the entire image that
Yeah.
holds the whole movie together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the three girls, Lori, Lindsay, and Annie, the three friends, they seem like they meshed very well together. And you can tell who's the troublemaker, who's the slut. And then you got the
You mean
nice
they
girl,
all are?
which is...
They're all sluts.
Lori is not. Lori is not. You can tell that she is not. Shut up, Lori. But anyway, it's I think they all played with each other very well as their roles, and Michael, definitely a creepy character, which that guy is, without saying anything at all, just terrifies you.
Yeah. He does a great job.
You know what I
with that.
mean? So
Yeah, I think the performance overall, all the characters, especially Jamie Lee Curtis and then Nick Castle as Michael, were fantastic.
one of the things that I did
Loomis
like,
was nice. I liked Loomis.
Yeah, Loomis was pretty
Yeah,
good.
Loomis
One of
was
the things
pretty
that I did like though was Will Sandy as Sandine, I believe, young Michael.
Mm-hmm.
That he doesn't have a lot of
He doesn't have any dialogue.
no dialogue, but his shot at the end when it just looks at his face, the look of a young serial killer, basically with a blank expression, just doesn't even look like he's there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just that kid did it very well from the get go
Yeah.
to sell off Michael Myers. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. Was
It was
pretty good.
very good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I think that's all. The performances were great. There was even the the graveyard keeper. Even like this, he was trying to tell Loomis a story
Oh yeah,
about like a murder,
yeah.
and Loomis just cuts him off. He's like, "No,
Are we there yet?
Yeah. I like that so
All
much.
right, yeah, we're
He's like, this
right
guy,
up here, and
He kissed his family goodbye. Then he took a hacksaw, and then he's like, "Whoa, I'm just gonna cut you off there."
exactly.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I'm like, I want to hear the rest of the story, Loomis. You son of a bitch.
You know, the funny shit is when they got to the grave, and then he sees that the tombstone is missing, and he goes, "Ah, damn kids!" Just, it's a fucking huge ass tombstone. If you take a look at it when it's over,
Oh yeah, it's a gigantic.
and I'm like, seriously,
It's not-
kids being able
It's
to
literally like one of those giant, like it's huge.
fucking cement block.
It's like 4 feet tall. It's made out of concrete. Like that easily weighs like 300 to 400 pounds. Probably closer to 4.
No way, fucking kids would be able to pick that shit up. Not at all.
That would take a team.
It would take a definitely
take a
team
team.
for sure.
That would take a team.
And Michael did it by himself.
Well, he picked up Bob one-handed with his left hand and lifted
Yeah, but
him off.
Bob is like what, 160?
Okay, why don't you try and pick someone up with your left hand off the ground?
I don't give a damn. That stone is about 400 pounds though.
I know, but I'm just saying he has the strength to do that one-handed with ease. He wasn't struggling. He's just like
Where
and then
Michael
pinned
got
him.
where Michael got his super strength from, I have no idea.
Well, there's reasons for that, and we'll cover that in the other movies. There's a lot of Halloween movies. We will be doing all of them eventually. And at the time of this release, I believe Halloween Kills has been out for 2 weeks. little over 2 weeks.
Yes.
I just
we
I
will
just
be doing-
watched that recently. We were gonna do Halloween Kills first, but like we thought it made more sense to
Go down the classic
go down
from the
a little
beginning
bit.
to the end.
At least do Halloween the original first before we give you Halloween Kills.
Just makes sense.
It just made more sense.
Just makes sense.
Besides, if you are interested in watching Halloween Kills reviews, you've probably seen it already. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that does it for performance. Let's jump into the outro.
The outro.
The outro.
Very big outro.
That's where everything happens.
That's where everything happens. This is where
So-
everything leads to the movie. The outro is the biggest scene in the movie. It's great.
Yeah. So this kind of lines up with the "Don't Go In There"
Yeah.
sequence. So Lori hasn't heard from Annie, so she decides to go across the street, and then that's when she goes across the street. I believe the door is locked, and the lights are off. I forget how she gets inside, or was it just open? She walks in.
I think it was
it was just open. She just walks in.
She
yeah.
just walked in.
She walks in, all the lights are off. She's yelling for everyone. She's like, "Oh, if you guys are playing a joke, the shit ain't funny."
Yeah.
And then she goes upstairs, and she's all creeped out. And when she opens the door, I know we kind of went over this a little bit. She sees Annie there in the bed, like she's just lied out, kind of like with her arms like this, kind of like the way Judith was when she died. And then Judith's headstone is there at the top of the bed. And then Laura's like, "Ah!" And she goes back against the wall, and there's like a closet or a door here. And then Bob, his body swings down. I guess he was hanging up. I don't know how this. If you really think about it, how was he hanging there?
I have no idea.
Because he was like, Mike's like, it'd be funny if I hung him here, and I put his head and I propped it up, and then when she hit this trigger point, his body would drop. So I'm just imagining his body's like horizontal in the other room.
I wouldn't even know how he would.
It's just
him there.
it's just funny to think about it, afterwards. So Bob's corpse drops down, is like swinging back and forth, and Lori's freaking out, and she backs up into a cupboard. This cupboard opens, and then Lindsay's there, and she's like, she kind of has that like the alligator boy from like Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses angle, like this, And then she's just completely flipping out at this point.
Yes.
And she backs up into a corner, and she does there's that classic scene where she's like, and then like there's like the dark side over here, and then you can't see anything, and all of a sudden Michael's face slowly fades, or I guess comes into sequence. So it's completely dark, and you see his mask get closer and closer and come
Beautiful
close.
scene.
It's really,
Beautiful scene.
really good. And then he goes to stab her and misses. He hits her in the arm. Yeah. He's killing all these other teenagers with like marksmanship, like crazy, like sharpshooter precision.
And then point blank.
Misses. Maybe he's just not good up close.
Needs a challenge.
Yeah.
That's what he needed.
Well,
He needed
anyways,
a challenge.
stabs Lori. She stumbles back, falls over the railing. And then Michael is like, "Oh shit!" So he runs around, and then he's not running, but he's walking rather quickly. It almost looks like he's kind of running, and then he's like kind of going down the stairs. Lori runs outside. She gets across the street, and she turns around, and she sees that Michael had just barely got outside, and then she's now at the front door looking for the keys. The kids locked her out, I guess, already.
Yeah.
That's the part I don't understand.
I don't know.
I don't
because
get
she's
that.
the one that walked out.
She's the one that walked
door.
out. Did she lock it?
I don't remember her doing that.
I don't think so. And it's also 1978. Did they lock doors then?
No, I feel like everybody had their front door open. Like it was unlocked. Like
I
all
felt
the
like
time.
it was just like, come on in.
Like nobody
Come
ever
on in,
locked their
stranger.
doors in the 70s. Like
Come on in, stranger.
everybody was always trustworthy.
Very trustworthy then. But anyways,
Like a Brady Bunch
so
feeling.
she can't find the keys, and so now she's banging on the door, and she's yelling out for Tommy to come unlock the door and let her in.
Tommy!
Yeah. And Tommy's taking his sweet ass time. He doesn't know. He's a kid, and like he doesn't know his crazy murderer is trying to fucking come kill
Nah,
Lori.
dude. He's like, who is it?
Who is it? He's like rubbing
It's
his
Lori!
eyes. He's like,
I know. He comes downstairs. He's walking through the hallway, still rubbing his eyes, and you hear the door. Bah, 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 bah.
complete panic.
Complete
It's
panic,
not-
but
it's
he's
not-
still
yeah,
like, whatever. Oh, somebody's at the door.
yeah,
I'll get it.
Yeah.
You know, and just
yeah. She comes in and then she basically locks the door, tells him to go upstairs and then to hide in the room, and then for some reason she stays downstairs
and she's just
and she's kneeling by the couch.
sitting like on the foot of the couch.
Yeah,
on the
she's sitting at the floor on the foot
crying
of the couch,
hysterically,
crying.
looking around.
Yeah, and she grabs the knitting needle and she's holding it. And
Well,
then
she's first sees that the
door
shutters
open. The
are
shutters
open.
Yeah.
The shutters are open,
Um,
and she starts to freak
yeah,
out.
she starts to freak out. She's holding the knitting needle, and then Michael pops up from behind the couch, misses again, hits the couch, and then she stabs.
And he grabs her.
Yeah, and then
He
she
grabs her.
She stabs him in the neck with the knitting needle. In the neck. And then he goes, ah, and he falls back, and she thinks that she killed him. She goes
Yeah.
up to the stairs, gets Tommy, and what's the little girl's name again? Lindsay.
No,
Linda?
Linda. I think it's Linda.
I thought it was Lindsay. I don't know. We're mixing them up now.
Because Lindsay is Kylie Richards, which is
I think it's
uh,
Lindsay.
is it?
I think it's Lindsay. And then Linda is the whore. Either way, it's a girl with an L.
Either way,
Yeah, she gets them, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry." And they're like, "Is he dead? Or like, is he coming?" She's like, "No, I killed him." She's like, "You can't kill the boogeyman." And literally as that's happening, he's
so
walking.
spooky.
He's walking up the stairs, and they scream, and you see Michael, and then you hear the music, dun, 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 and it's like at the
So
synthesizer,
crazy creepy.
in the background.
So crazy
It's
creepy.
really good. And she's like, "You guys go in there, lock the door." She basically letting Michael know there's two kids in there by themselves. Way to go.
This was planned.
She runs into the other room, and for some reason, Michael's like just standing there. I don't know why he hadn't even started moving yet. And then as she runs into the room, then he starts to walk. She goes to the balcony, opens up the door, and then she runs to the closet. So I think she's trying to be smart here. She's trying to like lure him to the balcony, like she tried to escape. That's why she opened it.
Yeah.
And then she goes into the closet. She finds a little rope, ties the doors together because it's like those sliding doors, you know?
Yeah.
And then she just sits there and waits. And then Michael is not fucking stupid, I guess. So he goes right to the closet.
Right to the closet. Goes straight to the
Right,
closet.
goes straight to the closet, and he's trying to open it, and it won't open. And then he's like, "Fuck this!" And he fucking starts pounding these little cheap ass wood panels in, because they're like little
Yeah.
wood slats. Like,
And as he's hitting these freaking wood panels, he starts taking them off.
yeah,
He's hitting them. They're breaking. As they're breaking, he's trying to reach in to grab Lori. He reaches so many times he can't. He just keeps on breaking. Lori reaches up, grabs one of the wire hangers, straightens it out or whatever, and then as Michael starts to reach for Lori again, she ends up stabbing Michael in the eye.
it's not in the eyeball, but in the eye area.
Somewhere in the eye area.
In the eye area.
With the wire hanger. It gets him so much that he's tripping out a minute. Does he pull it out? He pulls it out.
He pulls it out, but
and
he
then
drops.
he falls
drops his
straight
knife.
to the floor. Yeah, he
No,
drops his knife.
He drops his
That's
knife.
right. He does drop his knife.
He drops his knife. Lori picks it up.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then-
yeah.
She double hand thrusts the knife into his stomach, and
Yeah.
then he's like, "Ugh," folds over, and then falls back.
And then
onto the
falls onto the floor.
And so she thinks that he's dead. She's kind of weary to come out. And when she comes out, he doesn't grab her or anything. So she just assumes that Michael's now dead.
Which, if you stab anybody through his stomach, you would automatically think they're dead.
There is like a higher chance of you dying than living if that happens. Like the chances of you living through a stabbing in the stomach are so low because all of your organs are here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so low. Like it's incredibly
one
low.
of the highest things is like internal bleeding.
Yeah, you'll bleed. You'll bleed.
Definitely bleed out.
Yeah,
sure.
Crazy.
Crazy.
So what happens now? She goes and she gets the kids. She's like, "You guys need to leave. I want you to go downstairs. You listen to me. You go over to, I think she said the Wachowskis.
I don't know, but she said to some neighbor's
Yeah, she
house.
said someone go to the neighbor's house, call the police, tell them to come here, and so they leave, right? And then this is where that shot is where Laurie's like sitting there, and then Michael's like sits up, and then the kids run out, and then Loomis is walking down the street like he's been waiting for Michael to show up all night. The kids run out of the house screaming like ah, screaming, and then Loomis is like, "That's probably the fucking house."
Just like that too.
Yeah, that's probably the fucking house. So he's walking up to the house. The kids leave. And then Laurie starts to walk out of the room, and Michael's now standing.
Yeah.
Like she stands up, and all of a sudden he stands up too in the background. So that shot's really good. And then it pans out.
He starts
now
to
we have
choke her, right?
And no, the shot is a different angle now. Now the shot's like focused towards the end of the hall, and then she walks into frame, and she starts to go downstairs, and he runs up behind her, grabs her, and like now he's starting to like strangle her.
Okay.
And that's when Loomis comes up the stairs, and then she pulls his mask off. And when she pulls his mask off, we get a little look at what Michael Myers looks like.
And he freaks out because his
freaks
mask
out.
is off.
His mask is off, so he puts his mask on, and that's when Loomis shoots him. Shoots him more. He falls back a little bit, shoots him again, and then now he's in the room where the doors open. The doors for the balcony are open, and it's just you see Loomis. He's pointing his gun at Michael, and they like lock eyes, and all you see is the Michael's silhouette, and then Loomis just unloads on him. Just unloads
like
on him.
6 or 7 shots right at him.
It's 4.
Is it?
Yeah, Loomis has a revolver. It's only 6 shots. He shoots him twice in the hallway.
Is it a revolver?
4 times.
It is a revolver.
It's a revolver, dude. Twice in the hallway, 4 times in the fucking bedroom. Shoots Michael over the railing. Loomis goes to look. Michael's on the ground, all fucking twanged out. And then Loomis looks over and he sees Laurie. She's like completely broken. And then she says, "Was that the boogeyman?" Or she says, "What's the boogeyman?"
What's the boogeyman?
And then Loomis says, "I think it was." Which is so weird because I always thought she said, "Was it the boogeyman?"
No. What's the boogeyman?
She says, "What's the boogeyman?"
And then Loomis says, matter of fact, you just met him.
She says, "As a matter of fact, I think it was."
As a matter of fact.
Hold on 1 second, fellas. All right, so this is where I was always trying to figure out what is being said here. Because at first, I thought she says, "Was it the boogeyman?" Or "It was the boogeyman." Turns out she says, "What's the boogeyman?"
What's the boogeyman?
And then Loomis says, "I think it was." Which, those two things don't match up. Right? Those are two completely, like, different responses. I don't understand the dialogue here. This is the one thing I don't like about the writing here, because in order for Loomis's final line to match up with Laurie's, Laurie should have said, "Was it the boogeyman?" or "It was the boogeyman." One of those two phrases.
Yeah.
Would have been perfect, because then he would have been like, "As a matter of fact, I think it was." So "was it" would have been perfect, and then he said, "As a matter of fact, I think it was," would have clarified that it was the boogeyman. But since she said, "What's the boogeyman?" he should have had a different response. So I think this is probably one of the only errors in the writing that I did not like for the whole movie.
Yeah, I guess
it's a small thing.
It's a small thing.
It's
not very huge,
but it's just, that's how you're gonna end it. I was like, it should have been a little bit different at the ending. Should have been a little bit different at the ending.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't have too much of a problem with the ending.
Well, because I always thought she said, I swear to God, I always thought she said, "Was it the boogeyman?" I thought she questioned it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought she questioned it.
Yeah.
But then, like, I literally watched that scene. I kept like going back. I'm like, what did she say? Oh, she said what's. So, yeah, she said what's the boogeyman.
All in all, though,
Well, we're not done. So that happens, right? So she says, "What's the boogeyman?" Loomis says, "I think it was," and then she's like, and then Loomis walks out to the balcony, and then
okay.
because he looked at the balcony the first time,
Yeah.
and Michael was there. He walks out again, Michael's gone.
Michael's gone.
And that's when the music starts.
Okay.
Okay.
And
And then it pans back to her, and she's still like
freaking out the way she freaks out,
and then
and
roll credits.
roll credits, and that's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie,
Which it was a really
Which is-
good movie.
which is the classic way to end a horror.
Classic horror
Yeah,
slasher
yeah.
film,
The classic way to end a
Um,
horror movie is leave it with the open ending.
open ending,
Yeah.
definitely. For what else to come? You know, several movies later.
There's a lot of movies in this franchise.
Yes, there is.
There's a fuck ton of
Um,
movies in this franchise, which
but-
we will go over in due time.
Yeah,
But I mean,
definitely a good movie. I can appreciate this movie. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big fan of like slasher, gory movies and stuff like that. And this wasn't exactly a gory movie. Did have some scenes. It didn't bother me so much, but I can appreciate what came out of it. And I really like this movie. It's actually a good favorite of mine. I've never really watched it too much when I was younger. I've only recently started watching this movie. I've probably seen this movie a good 6 or 7 times within the last month. I didn't have to watch it, but I enjoyed it that much where I'm
it's a good film.
watching it. It is. It's a very good film.
It's a good film. It's a good film.
But
It's a great film. It's a great film. So let's move on to I
the
guess
nitty gritty.
the nitty gritty, our last little category here, the rating.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna give this movie 4 Mike Myers.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
For Mike
I don't know if that's the
Myers.
image I'm gonna use, but whatever. I might, 'cause it's goofy. But
for Mike
I
Myers.
think even though like it's a little slow pace, I still think that it deserves a slightly higher rating, which 4 is pretty high. Just based on originality,
yes.
the dialogue and the writing. They're pretty good with the character development, so you get to learn a lot about Lori and the girls.
Yeah.
And you get to see like Dr. Loomis trying to protect basically everyone from this monster that is Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And then there's also Michael Myers. So Michael Myers is like a crazy serial killer antagonist, and it's brilliant. I mean, there's literally only 5 deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
That is it, which is the lowest in the entire Halloween series. Which the highest, I believe, I don't know what the kill count is for Halloween Kills. I haven't checked it yet. But out of all the movies, the Rob Zombie ones are the highest.
Rob Zombie. Yeah.
Well, also,
It's
no
Rob.
shit.
Rob Zombie. It's fucking Rob Zombie.
I think it's like 26 kills or something.
Some stupid ridiculous.
Yeah, it's something
shit.
crazy. But after
Um,
watching Halloween Kills, I think it might be higher, to be honest. I have to go and count it and then check out the numbers on
That's a lot of time that you're gonna put into that, dude.
Yeah. So definitely
Um,
go watch this movie. Tell us what you think. Leave something in the comment for sure. Let us know how you feel about this movie, considering that it's over 40 years old. What is it, 43 years old
I
now?
don't know. What was it
40,
come out?
78?
78?
It's 43 years old now. I mean, this movie is a balding middle-aged man. So let me know what you think about this movie. And it's one of the classics. It's one of the reasons that horror is the way it is today. So give it some respect, bitch.
Yeah, I know, right, bitch.
I've been drinking.
I am actually going to rate this movie a little bit higher than yours. I'm actually going to go with 4.5 Mike Myers.
Let's go 4.25. I don't think
it deserves a whole 5.
I don't think it deserves a 5.
But I think it
Sorry,
definitely deserves.
I love John Carpenter, but
I don't think it
I think
deserves
we
a
should meet
5,
in the
but I
middle.
do believe it does need to go a little bit higher than a 4. You know, because this movie it was done so well. It was masterfully done. It was a great concept and it worked out, and hell, we're still having movies today, you know, which is fucking 2021 and shit.
Yeah, it's 43 years later.
Exactly. So obviously it's a huge success, and I enjoyed this movie so much so that I think, in appreciation for this, and I'm not talking about nostalgia, is a 4.5 movie. Definitely a 4.5 movie.
I'll settle at 4.25.
It's a 4.5 movie for me here. So,
And I said 4.
you're gonna be able to make 4.25?
Yeah.
On our rating system?
Yeah, I can do that.
So 4.5.
He says shit like this. Like he's gonna be the one doing all the work. It's 4.25.
All right, we'll give this a 4.25, and whatever your piece of shit quarter is. But
I'll make it good.
But yeah, definitely an over 4 Mike Myers movie for sure. I enjoy this movie. I think this movie is a great movie.
Yeah, you said that already. That's some old shit.
But for everybody out there, it is a little slow. You got to be patient. You got to watch it. It's definitely one of these movies where it's I feel like people nowadays don't have the patience to be watching something like this.
No, man. They don't.
You got to give it a chance.
They don't.
You definitely got to give it a chance. You know. But yeah.
You good?
Good.
You say everything you need to?
Done.
Okay, good.
Done.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for watching Not Your Everyday Critics. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you would like us to review a movie, please email us at nyec.gse@gmail.com. We do have a lineup for the next 2 months. We probably won't get to your movie till early January at the soonest, or earliest. Sorry, been drinking, but we can definitely make that happen, and we'd love to see some movies that, hell, are even off our radar. Like I said, there's 500,000 movies in all of existence, and I want to watch as many of those motherfuckers as I can before I die.
Definitely.
So let us know.
A lot of movies.
Let us know. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, you pretty much said it all that we need to do. Comment, subscribe, you know, for new content or upcoming videos.
He's really good at this.
I am not.
He's really good at this.
Give me a break here.
Yeah.
Okay. So until the next big silver screen, please be safe and happy movie going.
Happy movie going. Also, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Speaking of which, I gotta start going killing some people. Where's my knife? Where's my knife? You see my knife anywhere? God damn it.
I guess you're not cheersing me then.
Yeah. Take that with me.